Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to our Snow Globe edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning to our friends in Sioux Falls who are wondering what's all the complaining about. And our friends out west and everyone in between at Inforum.com. Happy Wednesday, everybody. 18th of February. At least here it's stopped for the time being. Driveway update as plow hasn't, I'm looking right now at my driveway cam. Plow hasn't come through yet, so we're living okay. I imagine, let's update this here quick again, that the Great Wall will be there by the time I go home for lunch today. So, but we're doing okay right now, which is all right. Hopefully everyone drives safe out there. It's getting nasty up north. From reports we got yesterday throughout the day that a bunch of teams, wrestling teams from Western and northern North Dakota made their way down to Fargo last night, which was extremely smart, knowing full well that it was going to get bad on the northern half of the state, which it has, with a bunch of classes canceled and school out. So those teams have made it here and ready to go for tomorrow with the opening day of the state wrestling tournament, which will give you the full details coming up on that a little bit later on, as our coverage is comprehensive. It might be a bit convoluted as well, so we'll try and spell that out as best we can. Today, get you ready for 3 days of action. It is state wrestling, nothing beats it, and excited to see it again on our airwaves starting tomorrow with the preliminary round matches, individual championships coming up on Friday, and then the dual championship on Saturday. We'll explain all that coming up later on in the show. We'll also get to a couple of basketball teams that are having some dynamite years. We featured yesterday the Horace Davies boys game. We had it last night on Extra. The Horace boys were victorious. We'll talk with head coach Kyle Cummings coming up at our second hour as they're closing in on an EDC championship. Pretty big stuff there for the Horace Hawk boys, who last year had a great run, and it all ended in the EDC tournament. They did not win 2 games and were left bitterly disappointed. They have been on a mission this year, and they are a step closer to trying to make that elusive first state tournament. They have not been there. They've got a heck of a chance to do that. So we'll check in on that coming up in just a little bit. Also, we'll get a Twins update, which we shared yesterday as we were wrapping up the show. The horrendous news, and it's just not good if you're a Twins fan. We'll dive into that more here in just a minute. But we'll start with the big news that was of yesterday, at least for us locally here, that the Mountain West Conference came to town. People might be incredulous about this, that the league office had not come here prior to adding North Dakota State. That doesn't mean they didn't do their homework. And if you read Mike McFeely's story, that the league went through the consultant firm to get basically the lay of the land, to see what NDSU could do financially, could raise money-wise, facilities, all that. Well, yesterday, Gloria Navarez, that's her, was in town along with Assistant Commissioner John Sullivan. You're going to hear from him tomorrow on the show. He's the man who does all the scheduling. Along with one of their top media lieutenants, was here to basically get a tour of everything, from the Shack to the Fargo Dome to the indoor practice facility. They made it around downtown. You're going to hear about that coming up in Bison Media Zone later today. Basically to get the lay of the land, because we mentioned we had Gloria on last week on the day that it became official that NDSU was going into the Mountain West, said that hadn't been here and was excited to get boots on the ground. Well, they got their boots on the ground officially yesterday. And basically, I don't know if fact-finding is the best way to describe it because I don't believe that was the case, but to, officially meet and greet and get this partnership underway. And we were fortunate enough to get some time with some various people, including the commish. We spoke one-on-one. The full interview we're going to have in Bison Media Zone. But for those that can't wait around or can't stick around, here's a portion of what Gloria had to say yesterday.
Knew it was going to be a positive thing. We all felt it. We felt the synergy in the match. But the level of national attention, both internal to the industry and externally with our media outlets and partners, has just been overwhelming.
Anything infrastructure-wise that now you see in person that you want to tell NDSU, like, okay, we need you to be at this certain level, or was that discussed long before your boots are on the ground, so to speak?
I don't think we have any markers, so to speak, like that at this point. We just really want a competitive football season, so win, baby, win.
What has maybe surprised you about being here and seeing it in person?
I love just, again, it feels so much like our other institutions in that you got that downtown feel, you got the red brick buildings and the ag presence, but also you see the infusion of the college marks and colors in the town and the restaurants and the retail areas. And it just tells you how much this school is part of the town.
Is it a victory tour both for the league and North Dakota State?
Getting out is really important to us, and we're going to be working together closely. We wanted to see and meet folks, and so the building the relationships, because this is a partnership. This isn't just a transactional, hey, we needed a team. This is, look, you're part of the fabric of who we are, and you're going to help make us better.
So the win, baby, win part really caught my attention, that they are full on board.
Knew it was going to be a positive
of what
thing.
NDSU can bring to the league and what the potential is here. I mean, that is the part that I think everyone has been speaking about nationally wise out of the league office, and certainly we read different stories about NDSU's move up here, is that the excitement level is at an all-time high, and they are expecting big things out of the league. We'll have the full interview with Gloria coming up at about 10:35 on Bison Media Zone today. We hit a variety of topics, from television to the appeal to be eligible for bowl games in the college football playoff, to scheduling, which she can share at least a little bit about that. John has more of that, which we'll air on that tomorrow on the program. But it's interesting to the nth degree. It's big-time stuff, folks. Just sitting there with the three people that were here from the league office yesterday, and this is going to seem like a shot at the Missouri Valley Football Conference. It's not. It's just everything felt big time, and it felt different. Like, wow, these people they know what they're doing. They know what to ask. They know what we are looking for. Everything about it felt at a really different level. And I'll just say some inside baseball stuff here, that the league office was certainly aware of WDAY, seemed like, and aware of our broadcast, because that invariably came up both on camera and off camera. And do I think any differently than I did last week when I shared about what the potential is for us? No. Do I think there's an opportunity? Potentially. Again, we're not going to get the cart before the horse here on this, but it was just a different feel. And again, for those that and I know we have plenty of our viewers that watch in South Dakota and in northern North Dakota that are sick of this, or it's just, well, hey, they're taking anybody to FBS, which is not accurate. This is the deal, and frankly, it's exciting to be part of the train. I'll just say that. Just being up there, covering it, and getting the lay of the land, like, yeah, this is exciting stuff. And once the schedule comes out, I'm telling you right now, we might have a 2-hour show just dedicated to that, on what that's going to be, because, it's just going to be wild when you find out who the opponents are going to be that are going to be in the league that are coming here. And even if it's UTEP and Northern Illinois and San Jose State and Wyoming, right, that are the 4 opponents that come here, that is exponentially better than Indiana State, Murray State, Southern Illinois, and Youngstown. And that's, I have friends in all those cities. I have enjoyed covering them. But you just can't compare it. And you can't compare fan excitement level to anywhere close to that. You just can't. So again, we'll have more on that later on in the show. But me, it seems it's big-time news coming our way. And, again, just for those that missed it, sounds like leagues – this is when the league schedule last year, I looked on this, came out February 22nd, I want to say. So they're right on time. Even with the addition of NDSU, this is still not even later than when they normally do it. So they're anticipating that comes out in the next 10 days or so, that we'll have the 2026 Mountain West football schedule. Television-wise, that we're not going to have answers for a few months yet. I'd say just buckle up on that. We'll keep you as informed as we can going forward. All right, more on that coming up later on, as I mentioned, in Bison Media Zone at 10:30. We'll dedicate the full 20, 25 minutes to that or so. The news on the Twins I mentioned is terrible. We were ending the show yesterday that Pablo Lopez was diagnosed with a torn ligament. It's the worst ligament you can have. It's a UCL injury. This video is from last year when he got injured in Sacramento, playing the A's there, and took himself out of the game. But he has a torn ulnar collateral ligament, which basically keeps the elbow together. He's going to need Tommy John surgery to repair it, and is going to miss the entire season. He's going to seek a second opinion from Dr. Keith Meister in Texas. That's according to the Star Tribune, but his season is likely over. He felt soreness in his elbow when he was pitching in a live batting practice session on Monday, and he left the mound after he threw a pitch in his third simulated inning. Actually, it's very similar to what happened there. He knew something was up in that game against the A's last year and pulled himself out of the game, and ended up it was a shoulder injury and missed 3 months of the year. And this time, again, felt something was up, and obviously it was bad. He said yesterday, I already feel like I'm letting a lot of people down. He had hoped to play for Venezuela in the upcoming World Baseball Classic. I'm letting myself down. I'm letting the Twins down. I'm letting my family down. Even with a forthcoming second opinion, Lopez fully expects he will undergo reconstructive surgery. He had Tommy John surgery in 2014, so over a decade ago, and he remembers people telling him that the new ligament usually had an expiration date after 6 more years of pitching. So we cleared that in 2019. He hoped he was the exception. Obviously, now it's come back to get him here in 2026. He had 3 stints on the injured list last year. We saw there the flexor strain in September, but this is a separate injury. His MRI on Monday showed his flexor strain was healed, but obviously the ligament was torn. So for a team already that didn't have the highest of expectations, I would imagine, coming into 2026. For fans, it already was probably at an all-time low. The only time probably lower is the offseason when they thought they might get contracted and not even have a team. Right now, we just got through President's Day, and people are thinking, well, this team might even win 60 games this year. And it's a tough deal. He's been the opening day starter for the last 3 years. Now, the rotation, I mean, what are we looking at here? I mean, Zebby Matthews likely going to fight for a spot. David Festa had arm surgery at the end of last year. Mick Abel is the guy, the prospect they got from the Phillies in the Duran trade. But we're looking at Joe Ryan. You're looking at Bailey Ober. You're looking at Simeon Woods Richardson. Those are definitely in the mix. I think Zebby probably has to be in there. But for a franchise that was looking for any sort of good news, this is the complete opposite of that. We haven't even gotten close to playing a game yet. I think they play their first spring training game on Friday with the University of Minnesota, and then they start Grapefruit League play after that. So 3 days in, and it's already terrible news, and that's a tough blow for Twins fans, no doubt about it. I wish I could tell you there were better news coming, but I can't guarantee that for a team that may have a very long 2026. Before we set up the show, today, big day for you hockey rubes out there. The quarterfinals of the Olympic men's hockey tournament are underway. We already have one team into the semifinals. The Slovakians beat Germany. So Slovakia will play in the semifinals. They've guaranteed a spot. They beat Germany 6-2 this morning. The next game is coming up here in about 25 minutes. That features Canada and Czechia. remember, they reseed this tournament as well. It's not a straight bracket in the semifinals. So how this looks is accurate for today, but whoever wins, then they'll reseed with the lowest seed playing the highest seed and so on and so forth there. Switzerland and Finland around 11 o'clock. The United States gets Sweden. Sweden beat the Latvians yesterday. That is not a quarterfinal. That is a gold medal matchup there. The Minnesota Wild have 7 players between the two teams facing off. That is a terrible draw for the United States with their matchup with the Swedes. That, again, is at 2 o'clock today on the USA Network. NBC is hoping against hope that somehow the United States can win that. They would not play Canada in the next round. The only way they play the Canadians would be for the gold medal. Frankly, they could play the Slovakians or the. I mean, they're not going to have an easy road to the gold medal. So that's coming up later today. Already, as I mentioned, Slovakia in the house with a win over Germany in the first matchup. The Olympic medal count updated again. The United States can add another gold medal to its total. Michaela Schifrin won in the slalom to add the gold medal total for the United States. Now 1 shy of Italy. Norway's running away with this. Norway's got, well, one guy's got like 5 golds to himself. The cross-country skier in Klæbo is amazing to watch. But for the spoiler alert, the United States, they'll feature that in prime time later with Michaela Schifrin, but she won at about 7:30 this morning to win the gold medal in the slalom, which is already her 3rd gold, most ever for a U.S. skier, man or woman. Congratulations to her on that. Our guest lineup today is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. We got a packed show here on tap. Our guy Drew Trafton right around the bend. We'll visit with Drew about the updated look to the Big Sky. Obviously, with Sac State is moving on to the MAC. We'll discuss that and a couple other topics with Drew coming up in just a few minutes. At 9:35, friend of the show, Nathan Hoots, will join us, head coach of the Maple River Girls. They won the district championship on Monday down in Lisbon. Now they get ready for the Region 1B tournament. That starts next week. The road to Minot is underway. Maple River, they got a heck of a player in Violet Richmond as well. We'll talk to Nathan about that coming up at 9:35. Kyle Cummings back with us at 10 o'clock this morning. As we mentioned, Horace with a big win over Davies last night. The Hawks in control of their own destiny now to win the EDC championship and be the number 1 seed at the EDC tournament at the Shack coming up here in just a couple weeks. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And again, I mentioned it is Bison Media Zone Wednesday. Gloria Navarra's conversation, our full one, will be at 10:35. That's our show lineup here on a Wednesday. We're just getting started. Hot Mike returns after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. After this.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
All right. Drew Trafton joins us each and every Wednesday at 9:20. Good to see you, my man.
Hey,
still
good to see
basking
you.
in the glow of Seahawks championship, and now
except it's like off season and
Combine
draft is in.
Combine is next
week, and it's like you feel like you're so far behind the 8 ball, and like, okay, what does the team need? What is all that? Like, it's just kind of like slaps you in the face, and another reminder that there is no off season in the NFL.
They
just keep going.
Love it every step of the way, and if they can get everybody talking about them, they certainly will.
Yeah.
How about some breaking Seahawks news that affects us here, which is odd to say outside of Gray Zabel. Pete Thabel, the first to report this morning that the Seahawks are hiring Northern Illinois head coach Thomas Hammock to be the next running backs coach, senior offensive assistant for the Seahawks. He's expected to become the NFL's highest paid running back coach and chose Seattle among multiple NFL opportunities. Now, why this is relevant, Northern Illinois is now in the same football league with North Dakota State in the Mountain West. So NIU has an opening. It looks like their defensive coordinator is going to fill that position. But
portal opens.
Yeah, it does for 15 days now, 5 days after this officially wraps. But
I don't know who has holes in their roster still. But
exactly.
Portal opens.
The only reason you leave on February 18 is that last line. Expect to become the NFL's highest paid running back coach to go to Seattle.
And that's a direct result of Clint Kubiak leaving the Seahawks to take the Raiders job. And they ended up hiring, it's Ryan Fury from San Francisco to fill that spot. And then they've kind of miraculously been able to keep the rest of that offensive staff together. And Mike McDonald has said kind of from the get-go that consistency is key, and they want to keep that kind of Shanahan-style offense intact there. But I know he had worked, I think that they probably had some overlap because Hammock was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think from like 2014 to 2018 or something like that. I looked at his resume this morning, and I know he's considered to be kind of like a really bright mind when it comes to just offensive scheming and all of that. And so in the run game, of course, is so critical to that whole thing. So that'll be fun to see him slide in.
Hammock was head coach. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame in 2024 in South Bend.
Game.
So, I mean, the guy is, and he went viral, I think, this past season for what, talking about the portal and everything. It was an epic rant that he had this past college football season. So there is an interim coach, and I'll be intrigued to see who gets that job in DeKalb going forward now. It's an FBS job.
Yeah,
so.
Here we go.
I have a couple things here. I'll save the Olympics for last. Sac State is now donezo. They are now an FBS school. We've been talking about this for the better part of 3 years on this segment. So no one is sad to see them go in the Big Sky ranks. That this was, they had made their intentions plain for a couple
were
years
out.
now.
Like we knew after the season, like this past season, like they
were
done.
donezo, right?
Yeah, so it's like, okay.
What's more shocking to you, the money or the fact that they're paying the MAC teams to fly to Sacramento, or that the president said it was going to be like $1 billion television outcome out of this? He says ludicrous things, which, as we talked about on the show yesterday, we're used to a president saying ludicrous things these days. But what stands out to you on this?
Bonkers, the $1 billion valuation.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That, which
the MAC TV deal is the worst of the TV deals.
It's like, well, I saw a funny post yesterday where somebody was like, "I'll take the under."
Yes, correct.
Like, yeah, and. The whole thing was shocking because, and it's not that they finally got it done, because Luke Wooded, like,
he said,
he
come
tied,
hell or high water, they were going to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, like his entire presidency at that school was based on this idea that we are going to get it done. But it felt like, I mean, the MAC used every bit of leverage it possibly had to, like, in Sacramento State had just like they had no choice, from what they had built up. But it was like, my goodness, if that's the cost of getting into an FBS conference, like the Montana schools after NDSU went, ton of conversation. But, and I think I saw Sam on your show this week, and he was like, I think it's probably like 35, 65, stay in the FCS for the Montana schools. And I think that's probably about right. But after seeing the Sac State thing, and it's like, it's already gone up that much.
Correct. Right. The Bison got a deal, frankly.
And you have to pay schools to come to you because you're like, and imagine like going to Bozeman and Missoula. Like, that's like so much more expensive to travel there.
And it's only a 5-year deal. Like, this seems like a stopgap for Sac State. That, hey, we're going to try out the MAC.
Now we're in the FBS.
Right, but they're in the party that maybe the Mountain West will come calling in 2032 or the Pac-12. You don't know. But I think, frankly, Sac State's been okay. We've talked about this as well, that they've had great regular season success. It's not translated to the postseason. They got beat by South Dakota State in 2021. They got beat by the Word at home. Both those losses were in Sacramento in 2022. They lost to the Coyotes on the road in 2023, but they've never been beyond the quarterfinal. I think they'll be okay, frankly, in the MAC. I think they're going to be okay.
I think they'll fit in all right. I just I wonder if the relevancy thing for them is just going to be kind of like they weren't relevant in the FCS, in the broad scheme of things, and they're definitely, I don't think they're going to be relevant.
Here comes, on October night, or the MAC should only starts right after Halloween. Like a November night, you could have a doubleheader now on ESPN.
Sure.
Like you can have Kent State and Ohio, and then coming up we got Toledo and Sac State, 9 o'clock kickoff from Sacramento.
Yeah,
that's exactly why they did it.
Yeah, and they'll get, I'm sure they'll get some more national exposure. But I mean, it's just
they'll be
kind
on TV. I don't know if it's national exposure, but you're going to be on television.
You'll be on ESPN, and
instead
of maybe a game a year. Otherwise, with the Big Sky.
Yeah, I mean, whenever Montana or Montana State came to town, Sac State got on ESPN too.
Yeah, and this last year was fun, and I wish them the best of luck. I mean, and I think most Big Sky fans are like, cool.
Here's the juicy nugget I have to ask you: will a Big Sky team play them as an FCS game.
Oh, I think the Big Sky would love that. Like I do. Like I think
I don't think the Montanas will. Yeah, but like Northern Arizona, would they schedule Sac State?
Totally. Yeah, I think they would. Yeah, in a heartbeat. I think it's interesting.
God,
like
they beat them. Oh,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and that's the reason, right? I mean, it's just like, yeah, we'll play you. Like, let's do this. Especially if it's in the next couple of years. Like, absolutely.
I have no inside knowledge on this, but obviously Sac State has some openings. The Bison do. That would not surprise me if Sac State ends up on the 2026 schedule.
I was just talking about
schedule.
that with the guys in the back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's almost inevitable at
You'd
this point
think,
that's going to happen.
knowing that there's open dates out there. Sac State, I think, had 7 games scheduled, and they were playing all over the place with FCS teams.
That's not going to go so well for the Hornets. That's not going to feel very good.
And I mean, their stadium is just all of it.
It's awful.
It's not an NDSU spot. It's just a completely different deal
it is so different, and it's just like the King's ransom they're paying.
It's a ton of money,
so
man.
ridiculous.
It's a lot.
But the $1 billion valuation was. I don't like. Who's he fooling with that? Like, I mean, nobody gets that.
I have no idea.
Alabama doesn't get that. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? $1 billion? $1 billion?
Yeah.
B billion? Okay.
What do you make, by the way, of Tony Clark resigning yesterday as the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association?
Well, that
scandalous deal. Apparently,
scandal.
He was having an affair with his sister-in-law, which is beyond shake your head at that.
I mean,
but you're going into a negotiation year.
But everyone thinks the strike's coming anyway.
Or lockout, one or the other.
It's like that. I think that's just the owner's way of. I mean, obviously, it didn't have anything to do with that.
No, but they have to be certainly licking their chops now. That hey, we might be able to get everything we've ever wanted out of this.
Yeah, and I mean and you're talking about some massive changes coming.
Well, right. I mean, they want a cap. I mean, obviously, the owners want to throw a cap on it, and baseball union has said there's no bleeping way we're ever gonna.
Yeah.
And I mean, I said it yesterday. I would say the Baseball Players Association is probably the strongest union in the world. I mean, they have never lost a negotiation. Anytime
and
they
they're not
canceled
afraid
the World
to sit.
Series, right?
They're not afraid to sit.
No, exactly right. We've already seen that happen. That's major. I don't know how well Tony Clark was. He certainly was not liked among the owners. I'm not sure among the players how well he was received either, because he took a hardline stance on almost everything that came out.
Yeah,
whether it was the strike zone, whether anything, he was no.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
I really worry about it because I feel like baseball's on such a fragile footing. Anyways, with the shifting climate of viewership and relevancy, and it's just like it's been sitting there, and everybody's been looking at this strike, going like, "Do you want to do this? Like, did you see what happened to the NHL?" And that was 20 years ago now. And it's like how long it took the NHL to bounce back from that, and it's like baseball is not where it was in 1994. Like it's not. It's that was 30 years ago, and like you're gonna just like. You're going to blow up your sport if you do that. And I think there will still be fans there like when they come back, but I mean,
I think we've all
I
think we've all are prepared that there was going to be some sort of work stoppage in 2027. I don't know if this changes the narrative around that or the likelihood of it happening.
It does in my mind. I mean, I think it like increases the idea that there could be a season-long strike.
Really?
Like,
you think okay. See, I thought the other way. I thought maybe we have a chance actually to play
that the players
next year.
are going to cave more.
Yes.
I feel like now there's just with the uncertainty, it's just going to like move that timeline back a little bit, like into what like they're going to have to get their ducks in a row.
Yes,
and that's going to take some time,
and they might become more dug in.
Yeah. And now it's like you've got those factions of like this is what we want out of this next the union head, and it's like boy that. Like they're going to have to figure that out before they even go to the table.
Because here's talking the Olympics here. The Olympics was obviously on the table as well. That was another thing. He said, no, we're not going to do that. And obviously baseball wants it to happen because it's in Los Angeles. Yeah. They can stop the season for 2 weeks or whatever and have a unbelievable. I mean, the World Baseball Classic starts next month, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
You think that on steroids for what? And I use that pun intended with baseball, but. With the Olympic Games.
Right, yeah.
And that's part of this negotiation as well, is, hey, we want to use the Major League players to play in the Olympics in Los Angeles. That's another huge bargaining chip that's out there now.
And you think about that in like the grand scheme of the timeline of the season.
Correct.
And that falls like right before the playoffs.
Right.
And it's like, do you really want that's such a tough
nerd
conversation.
and Rube and me with absolutely.
Really
Let's
cool
go.
to see.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine if
Otani's playing for Japan, right? And
what if he gets injured during and it's like
they got to be that guy. Yeah, I know. I know.
It's just there's so much.
Well, you know what? I'm not crying over spill maker. Right. If the Dodgers lose their best player, boo-hoo, right?
For the rest of the league. The world's smallest.
Ask the NHL right now because all those GMs and coaches are living on pins and needles right now for the next 5 days of this hockey tournament.
And you look at those matchups coming up, and you're like, that's that's white knuckling it for sure.
I mean, the Minnesota Wild have 7 guys playing in that USA Sweden game today, and the Wild are having an unbelievable year.
Yep.
I mean, you think they're going to let up today? No way. They're going to go balls to the wall on that one.
Yeah, this is so. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I'm nervous. I mean, so nervous, and maybe the new streaming deals and how that works out, or just the way that it's being brought to households. Maybe that'll cool some nerves a little bit throughout the season once we get to see what that actually looks like and how fans respond. But I mean, I think it's going to be really tense. It's going to be, we're going to have the last out of the World Series and then go.
When's their next baseball game?
Yeah, that'll be a huge conversation right away.
Great stuff as always, bud. Next week we talk Combine. How about that, right?
Unbelievable.
Combine will be here next week. Drew Trafton joins us each and every Wednesday at 9:20. We'll break. We come back. We'll chat some girls Class B hoops. We're just closing in on state tournament time. This team wants to be there. Maple River head coach Nathan Hoots on the other side of the break when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic rolls on here on a snowy Wednesday morning. Kyle Cummings, Horace boys basketball coach, will join us in our second hour. Hawks got a big win over Davies last night. Mentioned throughout the next few weeks, we'll be checking in on various Class B, Class A teams. Out of the Class B ranks, the Maple River girls are still playing. They're heading to the Region 1 Class B tournament that starts next week in Jamestown. Great to have Nathan Hoots back with us, Maple River girls basketball head coach. Can you confirm or deny you were selected to do the half-court shot at the Shack a few weeks ago?
Yeah, it wasn't my best effort, but I didn't leave it short, which was a goal. So I gave it a shot, just missed wide left like lots of Vikings kickers in my time as a fan.
Did you volunteer, or did somebody volunteer yourself to go do that?
My seat got selected. But I tell you what, Dom, the ball they use for that is it's a little fishy. It's slick. I barely missed it off the backboard. It ricocheted all the way back to the opposite free throw line. So I felt like I was playing a game at a carnival.
Oh, man. I wanted to make sure we got that on TV, but it was during commercial. But also, by the way, are you the last basketball coach to still wear a full suit? Are you the last one?
Few and far between. Yeah. I tell you what, though, we got some pretty good dressers in District 1. A lot of ties being wore.
That's what I like to hear.
There's not many that wear the suit.
Was that a thing you did on purpose, knowing everyone's going to the quarter zip now these days?
Yeah, I don't know. I brought it out one game, probably my second year. We won, and it's just kind of been superstition ever since. We had a lot of losses early in my tenure, so I probably should have bailed on it early, but it's kind of something I got, and I stick with it now.
Well, first, it's working because you guys are winning again. Congrats on the district championship. Won that on Monday down in Lisbon. Describe this season, and now a chance to couple wins away from going to the state tournament.
Yeah, season's been, I think you'd call it a bit of a roller coaster. I think if you thought of one person associated with Maple River basketball, it's probably Violet Richmond,
yes.
and her aspirations to play pretty high-level basketball after she's done in high school. She went down second week of January right after we had a big win against Lemoore, and I don't think there were a whole lot of expectations for our team after we lost her. Had a shaky couple of games right after trying to figure out how to play, but the girls kind of sat down with me after we had our second game and said, we need to start doing some things a little bit differently around here during practice. And that really resonated with everybody. And, we've had a couple tough losses where we didn't play that great. The level of competition that we've lost to has been pretty high level. But we've kind of got it rolling. We're kind of scoring by committee. We seem to have a different leading scorer most nights, and it's just been a fun ride, and like I said, the expectations not being very high outside of our locker room has been something that we've really ran with.
How difficult was that to have a meeting with the team knowing Violet was out and likely not coming back?
Yeah, it happened on a weekend. We found out on a Friday night that she ended up tearing her meniscus, and so it was, phone calls to all the girls and talking to them individually and just saying, hey, expectations are going to be a little different for you as an individual. Here's what I expect from you. I think that was really good for each girl to understand, what I'm going to expect from them moving forward now. And then we actually had 2 games before we had our next practice. So by that time, everybody inside and outside of that locker room knew exactly what happened. And it's been a process ever since. And the girls have really bought into everything that we've been preaching here for the last couple of months.
I mean, you've coached for a bit. You've had to deal with injury, whether it be football when you're coaching that or basketball. How do you, when you have a star player like that go down, for yourself, how did you deal with that, finding out, man, this totally changes what I thought our team maybe could do?
Yeah, well, this is the 3rd time in 4 years where we've lost a really, really important player to our team. 3 years ago, Addison Hannick broke her jaw when we kind of had things rolling the last year, that 2-class system. Last year, Carly Hovelson, who's now our leading scorer, tore her ACL in the 3rd game of the year. So I hate to say that I have some experience in this situation. So the girls understood when we kind of chatted a bit that, we've been here before. This doesn't change our expectations internally. And it's, it was a pity party for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then back to work and hey, let's have some fun and let's reimagine exactly, on the fly. And, our offense is, it's similar, but it's way different at the same time, just because, everybody's got to touch the ball. We got several games this year where we got 3, 4, 5 girls that get 8 to 10 points, and that's a lot of fun. And I think it's a fun brand of basketball to watch from the outside. And defensively, things haven't changed. We've been as good as we've been all year here these last couple of games, and that's what's really exciting for me.
That make what happened Monday night sweeter, winning this thing, knowing what you lost?
Yeah. It was something that, I think a lot of people probably thought we were a mid-tier team in our district as soon as that happened, but they didn't understand how good my role players were. And now those role players are all stepping up into, a lot bigger challenges. And every day, not just in games, but every day in practice, they're doing what they can to get better. And there's just a level of focus that got increased when they realized that, hey, we don't have number 0 to kind of bank on if things go bad. We're going to have to figure this thing out. And it's made me unbelievably proud.
So tell me about this now. You got the region tournament start Monday. You're going to the Jamestown Civic Center. You got Edgley, I believe, first up. What now expectations? We're a couple wins away from going to the state tournament in Minot in a few weeks.
Yeah, and it's one game at a time. Coach speak for you there. But we played Edgley Column January 2nd. Played them here in Tower City and won by 4. That was with Violet. So, we're a lot different. They're a lot different. They got a first-year guy on the bench that, coached the boys for a long, long time, and he's really, really good. But they're a little different now than they were then. So it's going to be a little different than when we played them 6 weeks ago. But super excited for the opportunity to be able to showcase what we've done here in the last 6 weeks. And I just can't wait for the opportunity.
We're watching, Nathan, a little bit of Violet's game. For those that don't know, she's a sophomore. What's her ceiling? Describe what you've heard about potential for the next level.
Yeah, her ceiling. She was really good as an 8th grader when we went to state.
Yeah.
I thought she took a big step between her 8th grade year and her freshman year, and that is minimal compared to the steps she took between her freshman year and sophomore year.
Wow.
There is no kid that works harder at her game that I've ever seen. She scored 45 earlier this year against Mayville, where she just simply didn't miss for 2 hours. Then the next game, she came back and only had 6 points against a good Grafton team. I come back 2 hours later after watching film, wondering why someone didn't turn the lights off after the game. Dom, she put up 600 shots that evening on our shooting machine. She has a work ethic that's unreal. Her ceiling, if she can grow a couple more inches, I mean, how many teams around here would like a 5'10" scoring guard that might actually enjoy defending more than she does scoring. She's phenomenal at tracking the ball and getting rebounds. She does a great job of understanding help side defense and being a rim protector at 5'8". When girls aren't looking, she eats up every aspect of the game, and she's a lot of fun to be around every single day.
That stat line, by the way, 16 of 21 from the field, 8 of 10 from three-point range, 8 rebounds, 3 assists in 23 minutes. And other than that, she wasn't very good.
One of those misses was a huck at the buzzer too. So she was feeling it pretty good.
Holy
and you know what?
cow.
Our girls are really good at understanding when someone's got it rolling, whether it's Violet or Carly or Abigail, any of my scorers, they do a great job of get her the ball,
Get out of the way,
or do something to put her in a position to score. We have some really high-level basketball IQ girls on my team, and that's pretty fun.
You mentioned earlier making a state a couple years ago. This is year 3 of the 3 classes. Give me your overarching view of this, of how we're nearly done with year 3, of how this, I won't say experiment, how this has gone now with 3 classes in your mind.
There's so much hope in November for so many teams. Just the electricity in the building in Lisbon before we even played our district tournament before we played our district championship game was awesome. We had 2 close games, Wyndmere and Enderlin going to overtime. I'm just being honest. 3 years ago, that game it's not irrelevant because every game matters to every kid. But in the grand scheme of things, we were fighting to wear a white jersey in the first round of regionals, and with the expectation that we're likely, if we get to that semifinal game, Central Cass, Kindred, Northern Cass, Oak Grove, they're waiting for us,
right.
And we could have the team of the century at Maple Valley and Maple River, and it wasn't going to matter. Our ceiling was probably 3rd place at regionals. 3rd place at regionals now. That 3rd place game in the James South Civic Center, we've got to do it 2 times in a row. I'd rather be playing the championship game or the 3rd place game at regionals. There is a tension in the air that the losing team has done that you don't feel that in the region championship quite the same. There's a level of excitement that, hey, you're going to state if you win, but that 3rd place game is now like it's must-watch TV because there's a team playing for their lives.
And I remember going and covering, region championship night, whether it be girls or boys. I'm like, wow, why are we doing this 3rd place game? And now it's just completely different now because the one team season is over after that night.
Absolutely. And then you ramp it up even more. And 2 days later, you're playing in Mayville and you got 4 straight games where the winner goes to state. It's just, we've been really, really fortunate to be able to play in that game the first 2 years of the 3-class system. I get my girls there for the first, halftime of the first game, and we sit and we just watch basketball all day long, even though we're playing at probably 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
The girls just eat that up, being able to see that and feel it, and just get their bodies ramped up for what could be the game of their lives.
Last thing before I let you go, seeing what the Bison and women have done this year for your team, you coach young girls. How big a deal is that, seeing the kind of play they've had this season?
Absolutely. They what do they got? 2 losses this year. I mean, they're fantastic. It's cool to be able to see a program in the area experience a ton of success. And, I got a girl that probably would be pretty thrilled to be able to play there at some point. But yeah, it's awesome to see that if, you work really, really hard. I don't care where you're from. There's a lot of schools that, these girls have never heard of that are playing for that team right there. And that's, I think that pushes them to be their absolute best.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck next week, and hopefully we're talking in early March, okay?
I can't wait. Thanks, Dom.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes, Nathan Hoots, head coach of the Maple River girls. The Raiders won the District 1 championship on Monday in Lisbon, and the region tournaments begin in Class A and Class B next week. The Class B girls will tip in Jamestown. Maple River has Edgeley, Cullum, Montpelier for that first game. That's on Monday at 3 o'clock as tournament season is here. We talked about wrestling off the top. It is officially here. Good stuff there. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Got a couple emails to get to. Kyle Cummings from the Horace boys will join us coming up in our second hour as the Hawks trying to close in on EDC championship. Back on Hot Mic on this Wednesday morning after this. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour. This is update from my driveway. If I could still see my tire tracks when I pulled out at about 7:15 this morning, that's a good sign then that the shoveling won't be too bad. The snowblower's not going to work with this kind of heavy snow. I'm forecasting that already. So good news there. We'll chat more in the second hour on the Bison South Dakota State game tonight. Bison men are playing the Jacks. This stat, I don't know how you find this, so I'm not questioning the legitimacy of it, but it's crazy. Since the 2017 season, South Dakota State has played 98 Division I home games. They have been favored in 97 of them. Tonight, they are a 1-point home dog to NDSU. Actually, just check the updated line on this. Actually, the Bison are a 1.5 favorite over South Dakota State. Adding on to this, to follow this up, in the same time frame, SDSU has 86 home wins, 14 more than the next closest Summit League team, which is NDSU. Similarly, SDSU is the most home conference wins with 62, 12 more than the next closest team, which again is the Bison. That is a remarkable stat. 97 out of 98 Division I home games since 2017, South Dakota State has been favored. They are not tonight. The Bison are a slight favorite on the road, which tells you maybe exactly where each of these programs are right now in regards to the Bison and the Jacks. We had Dave Richmond on the show yesterday. They know full well they're walking into what's going to be an absolute battle tonight. South Dakota State lost at home to the Bison, you'll remember, last year in a game where Jakari White went crazy down in Brookings. And NDSU knows as well that each win they get, they have 4 games left, gets them that closer to a Summit League championship. And knowing they still have to go to St. Thomas, and they've got a 2-game buffer here over St. Thomas in the league standings, 3 up on UND. 2 league games tonight. Oral Roberts plays at Omaha tonight. St. Thomas has the mini bye. The Tommies play again, and their game is no easy one this week. They got to go to Denver and play against a Denver team that's playing better. St. Thomas last 3 games at Denver, home for the Bison, home for Omaha. Those are 3 difficult games. It's not like you're playing Oral Roberts, Kansas City to wrap up the league year. I'm just going to pick on them. You've got Denver, NDSU, and Omaha. That is 3 really difficult games to wrap up for St. Thomas. Nothing absolutely locked in there, but we'll have more on the Bison of the Jackrabbits game coming up in Bison Media Zone in about a half hour's time. But we'll wrap up our first hour here. We come back. Kyle Cummings will join us, head coach of the Horace boys, the victorious Horace boys who won last night over Davies. We'll recap that, chat some other Hawks news when we start hour 2 coming up after this.
Hot Mike on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll. Shortened show today. Remember, we got Bison Media Zone starting at about a half hour. My conversation with Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Navarra is coming up at about 10:35. We had it last night on our airwaves. Our final game of the week was a good one between Davies and Horace. The Hawks end up getting the victory over Davies last night. Final score was 80-66. Horace now 13-1, 1 game clear of West Fargo with 2 games to go in the regular season, trying to clinch that number 1 spot for the EDC tournament and then try to get 2 wins to get them to the state tournament. Great to have Kyle Cummings back with us, Horace boys basketball head coach, reflect on the game last night and now on the doorstep of the postseason. That you knew was going to be a battle. It's Davies. It goes without saying. Describe how your team played last night.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. We knew it was going to be a battle heading into it. It was a battle at their place, and it was a 1-point game. Yeah. And I've had this one circled for a while, to be honest. We try not to look past any games, but we knew that this one was going to probably have some playoff implications and everything. And just talking to the guys at this point in the year, we want them to play loose and play free, but we also need them to understand that there's pressure on them. I'm really proud of how we came out and played, but just reflecting on our performance, we had a really balanced performance last night. Owen Terrace is just on a heater right now. He led us with 22, but after that, Carter Evanson had 14, Aiden Green had 14. We had Caden Peterson with 11. Brett Livingston had 10. Ryder Myshak had 9. It was really balanced, and I'm just proud of our guys because it was a solid team win, and that's going to be really hard to stop down the stretch, I think, when you have that balanced scoring and maybe one guy's going to pick up the slack for somebody else. I think we're going to be really tough to stop.
Now, I don't know if Carter went so far to do the Joe Namath with Riley on the news last night to guarantee a victory, but you mentioned it. They got you by 1. I mean, how badly did the guy? You didn't even need to mention it to the guys how badly they wanted it, right?
Absolutely, and this era with the social media and stuff, I think that everything is promoted so much, myself included with the team Twitter account and everything. And I think that, between media, social media, it definitely had some, as the kids would say, the hype around it. And that's just the thing is, it's really fun when we start to pack the stands a little bit more and when there's a little bit more pressure. And that's, just the area of sports, it's at an all-time high, I think, and it's great.
And honestly, you guys, I don't know if internal pressure is the right way of how last year ended, and you can't avoid that, Kyle. And I know you've talked about it when we had you on the season got going. Just that's there, and that won't be there and won't leave until you guys make it. How much has that lingered throughout the year as well of what happened at the end of last season?
What happened at the end of last season, we lost those two at the Shack, and it's more so how we lost. When we're a young team and we had the lead at certain points throughout the game, and I'll take it, it was coaching as well. It was not getting our guys prepared to play with a lead. It's tough to hit shots at the Shack sometimes because it's a bigger venue. It's not necessarily a shooter's gym and things like that. And so when the shots weren't falling, our default is to keep shooting, and we like to play fast and up tempo. And so this year we've really had to learn how to slow the game down at times and to play with a lead. We don't need to take some of those quick threes, which I love playing that way, don't get me wrong, but that's really fun to do for 80% of the game. But even last night, we burned a timeout with 4 minutes and 48 seconds left, and we said, who's winning the game? We are. Here's what we need to do. I don't want a shot unless it's 5 seconds left on the shot clock kind of thing. And so getting the guys ready to play with a lead, and there was still growing pains like that throughout the year. We played Moorhead at Concordia, and we were up by 18 at one point, and we ended up blowing the lead, and we lost by 6. Davies, that other loss we had, we were up by 4 with under a minute to play, and we ended up losing. And so when we played against West Fargo High and Cheyenne, those were kind of those ones where we, just clinical, those things we practice where we have to burn the clock. We have to kind of be in those scenarios, and just to see it come full circle to get a win like that was awesome. And now I'm excited for winning in different ways down the stretch if we can. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
That's a great answer. On that. I'm intrigued, though, knowing full well what you have in front of you, that you have 2 games left and there's basically no wiggle room. Describe that knowing, okay, we have everything in front of us. We just got to take care of business over the next 2 games.
Yeah, we just need to control what we can control. We are on the road. We're going to Grand Forks on Friday. We go to North on Tuesday, and that's the end of the regular season. And Grand Forks is improving. North they've got shooters. We are going to focus on them, of course, but we really need to focus on our guys and what we can do to be successful. And it's, everybody talks about the season as a marathon, and I think it's a sprint. Every week is a sprint. Every game is a sprint, just where we're at right now. And that's the thing is we're just sprinting to the finish line to have a strong finish to the season.
Kyle, how has Carter handled being the guy, knowing full well after what this summer committing and like late spring and announcing he's going to go play and now signed it at UND? There's a different deal that comes with that. How do you feel he's handled this year?
He's grown so much. When I took over the program, he was a sophomore, and he was, I don't even know, he was 5'9", 5'10", and now he's grown into a man. He's 6'3", and he's stronger. Like physically, he's changed a lot, and I would say he's grown a lot between his junior and senior year, where now that he's committed and he's signed, that pressure is, I think, lifted off of him. He still has pressure that he puts on himself, and that's the thing is, being one of the top players in the state, you'll always have that pressure. But just the way that he has been able to play a role in certain games has been awesome. And that's the growth that I just really I can't applaud him enough on that, because earlier in the year, he was having some 40-point games, Dom. And then last night he had 14. And that's the thing is, last night he was a screener. He was a distributor, because he commands so much attention that he was able to get his teammates open. And so that's what I'm really proud of, is just on any given night, he could go for 40 or he could go for 14, like I said. And so that's been the part that I'm really impressed with, with him.
Sorry, I had a couple. No, you're all right. I had a couple emails came in that found out you were going to be on the show, because you have a couple players that Bison football fans may be interested in that got offered scholarships to play football, but they are pretty good basketball players, Aiden Green and Brett Livingston. Give us the lowdown on each of these guys, and are they better at basketball, football? What, you've seen them both. Give us the lowdown here.
That is a trap question, Dom. I don't know because I think Harvey McMahon would be on the show and he'd fight me over them as well. They are definitely two of the top dual sport athletes in the area, and I think that this is going to be one of those things where they get to choose what they want to do. Both Brett and Aiden, for us, like I was talking about Carter, they will play a role on certain nights. Aiden this year, he has had a couple of really impressive games just taking over, kind of being that closer where we put the ball in his hands and he just will go on I'll blink and he went on an 8-0 run on his own. Brett, you've seen some of the highlight reel dunks that he puts on, and that's the thing is I think maybe that really helped with the football recruiting is I'm sure that Coach Polisek watches the nightly news and he maybe sees that and says, I got to go talk to this kid just because what could he do on the football field? But I think that it's up to them. The sky's the limit. If they want to be college football players, they will be college football players. If they decide they want to play college basketball, then I think that is definitely in the realm of possibility as well, too. It's just kind of whatever eggs they want to put in the basket,
How good is it they play both? Because this day and age, you and I have talked about it. I know you coach AAU as well, that guys get specialized. We're going to do one, that you still have guys that are playing both at a high level.
Yeah, and I love basketball. I love AAU basketball, but I just think that it's the different coaching, the different sports that are going to just help these kids down the road, not only in athletics, but in life as well. I think that Coach McMahon and I, we get along great. We work together in the summer in the weight room and we laugh and we joke. But I think that as long as they're hearing similar messages from different voices, that's going to really help these kids as a whole, not just as an athlete.
So here we go. You mentioned we got a couple weeks left. You played a couple teams out west. You played Minot, you played Dickinson. We've seen Century and Bismarck are having really good years. Would you have liked the chance to maybe play a couple more WDA teams to get so it's not fresh when you get to state?
That's tough. Yes and no. I really liked our non-conference schedule this year because earlier on when I was on the show earlier this year, I talked about, we played on 3 college courts.
Yeah.
And I think when the goal is to get to the state tournament for us specifically this year, I've got guys talking about winning the whole thing, that's great, but I just want to get there, Dom. I feel like I have to get that monkey off my back. But, playing at those college venues was really good for us, I think, and that's something we can lean on come tournament time. Now, say we make the state tournament, do I maybe wish we could have played a Bismarck High or maybe even a Mandan just so we're a little more familiar? Yes, probably. And so I guess I don't know how to answer that one. I don't see it hurting us. I don't see it helping us either. So
that's the level of basketball right now around the state. You evaluate these guys. You see them in the summer. How good is the hoops right now going?
It's, between the top 4 teams in the East, the top 4 teams out West, it's a dogfight every night. And I think that the best thing that happened was the 3-class system. I, wake up sweating in the middle of the night thinking about, we've got Red River on Friday and that's not going to be a cakewalk. They're playing well. And I think that just the talent is at an all-time high. Some of that comes with the specialization, but I'm hoping that we can keep the talent going just not only in the Metro or at Horace, but just in the state as a whole and just kind of put North Dakota basketball on the map.
All right, so now that you coach the Horace girls and now you coach the Horace boys, what has developed into the chief rival? I thought it was going to be Cheyenne. Is it Davies? Is it West Fargo? Is it somebody off? Who's now number 1?
Number 1, and I love him because I was on his staff, but I get fired up for the Red River games just because maybe that's because I know Kirby really well. And I was on his staff for 3 years, so maybe that's just me thing. But no, I think that we're still kind of second fiddle between West Fargo and Cheyenne. Okay. We call those rivalry games, but I watched the last one with the boys, and it's not quite to that level yet. So maybe we'll get there. We need a 4th West Fargo school to pop up. We need a 4th school, and that'll be our rival.
Well, you might not be far off from that happening, right? Holy cow!
I bet it's in 6 years or less if I had to guess.
Holy cow. You mentioned here, before I let you go, down the stretch run, how is this for you now, knowing, okay, the end goal's in sight? Like, you got through the dog days of, mid-January, early February. Now it's real. Describe that, of how not you get re-energized, but like, okay, here it is, guys. We've only got a couple weeks left in our season now.
You hit it on the head, too, just with the being re-energized. We had I don't want to call it a bye week. We played Tuesday, but we didn't play Friday.
Yeah.
And, that was kind of our last little break. That was right before we played Grand Forks Central at our place. But we went bowling on that Friday, and that was kind of like like the finish line is in sight. This is going to be kind of our last little team bonding that we can do before playoffs. But I think that now that we're here, I don't want to see it come to an end. You mentioned the dog days. It's dark when we go to school. It's dark when we leave practice. But I'm not ready to stop working with these guys yet. And so I want to make sure that we can go on this run and that we just make the most of our time together.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. Congrats on the big win, and I know we'll be catching up here in the not too distant future, okay?
Thanks for the time, Dom. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Kyle Cummings joining us, head coach of the Horace boys, as they got a big win over Davies, now with a one-game lead with 2 games to go in the EDC race. We got some breaking news email to share here, so let's take our last break now because I want to set us some time to talk about that when we come back and wrap up the show because we got what to watch to wrap up in Bison Media Zone. So we'll take our final break, some UND news to share on a snowy Wednesday morning. Back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Mentioned some breaking news. We wrapped our interview with Kyle Cummings, and it comes from Grand Forks this morning. Topic we've been talking about quite a bit here over the last, I'd say, all season long, frankly, after the Summit League season began, that UND has announced that Paul Sather has signed a contract extension through the 2028-2029 season, a 3-year deal. Obviously, his contract was up at the end of this season, and he had a dynamite year. UND's going to finish as a top 3 team in the Summit League when they were preseason pick of 8th this year. Statement from Athletic Director Bill Chave says, in today's landscape of college athletics, it's a challenging time to be a mid-major basketball program with constant roster movement, NIL dynamics, and increased competition for resources. Stability and strong leadership matter more than ever. Paul has provided that for our men's basketball program. He's built a culture rooted in accountability, player development, and pride in representing the University of North Dakota. Extending Paul's contract reflects our confidence in his vision and the foundation he continues to strengthen. In the midst of his 7th season, he's helped the program ascend to a top 3 spot in the Summit League standings this year, currently 9-4 in the league, sitting just 1 win behind, matching the most wins by a UND men's basketball team in Summit League play. They got 10 a couple years ago. Obviously, they won a game at the tournament. Last year, there was the Trace and Eagle staff memorable game, and they beat South Dakota State before falling in the semifinal round. They made it to the Summit League championship game his first year in 2020 when they lost to the Bison. That was a team he inherited, but man, they overachieved there. I think they were the 7 seed, and they made it to the Summit League tournament that season. He has juggled a completely new. I mean, he's lost. Think of the players that have been up there, and he's recruited some really good players. He got Trace and Eagle staff out of Bismarck, North Dakota, to come and play in Grand Forks. He got B.J. Omont out of Mankato and developed. I mean, Omont can't play, hasn't played at Minnesota. Didn't play really at Cal. He was a great player at UND for a couple years stretch there. Eli King, he got to transfer in. Eli's been a fantastic player. Grayson Ullman's another good example. Grayson Ullman was a walk-on out of Minnetonka. Stefanowicz was the dude. Grayson Ullman came as a walk-on to UND and now has become their leading scorer. So Sather's done a heck of a job. We've always enjoyed having him on the show and always given it to us. Give it to us straight, frankly, whenever we asked him about it. So we had him on just not that long ago talking about how his team is, frankly, maybe overperformed this entire year. Now they're dealing with a couple injuries here, so we'll see how the final couple games of their season go. But they've certainly overachieved this year, and that is well-deserved. Guy lingering out there, that couldn't have been easy, knowing in this day and age you don't have many quote-unquote lame ducks out there. Coaches want stability. They want to know what's going on. So going into this year, not knowing if he was going to be extended or not, I can't imagine. That's really difficult. hard to do your job effectively if you're constantly looking over your shoulder wondering, hey, am I still employed? Am I going to have a job beyond that? So good news on that front. UND plays its next game. They've got one tomorrow night. They've got Kansas City coming in. The Roos are making the North Dakota trip this weekend. They've got UND coming up tomorrow night, and then the Bison on Saturday. Kansas City's coming off a 40-point loss to St. Thomas. And obviously we already know Marvin Menzies is not going to return. Mark Turgeon has been hired at Kansas City. So we know at least one coach that will be definitely coming back in the Summit League next year. That's Paul Sather at UND. So a little breaking news there to share before we wrap up the show. A couple of emails coming in as well. Wanted to get to this. Dom, I complain when it's all Bison stuff, so I just want to say thanks for the baseball coverage. Keep it coming. Appreciate that. Who do you think are the front runners for the NIU coaching job? Supposedly Dan Jackson is interested. Of course, the South Dakota State head coach. That's something I'm not even willing to dip my toes into that, considering I would be over my head on knowledge on. It looks like that NIU is going to go with an interim coach for this. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's February 18th. It's not like it's December 18th. You can't just go and find a guy. And like the NFL can do this. NFL's trying, guys are filling out staffs, and they will pluck from the college ranks this late because obviously for Northern Illinois coach, for Thomas Hammock, he's getting paid the highest running back salary in the NFL. You're going to go. You have to. And not think twice about that. And this is from Ralph Russo, covers college football for The Athletic. Is this the last head coaching move of the 2025 season or the first of the 2026 season? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Bob Harley will be the interim coach for Northern Illinois for the 2026 season. The transfer portal will open for 15 days for NIU players, starting 5 days after Harley is officially named by the school. The school put out a statement, did out at NIU about an hour before we came on the air, that Hammock is announcing his resignation and will return to the NFL. And it did not say in the official, it says at the end here that Harley will be named interim coach. So if the countdown starts then tomorrow for NIU, that they've got 5 days after that, then the portal opens. And again, I don't know who's open for roster spots now. It's February 18. You've got your team for the most part. That's the tough part on losing a coach this late in the game. But that's the deal for one of NDSU's new conference rivals in football. Its closest conference rival in football. Now, Northern Illinois will have an interim head coach for the 2026 season. Good stuff with the emails there. Appreciate that. All right, before we get going, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. What to Watch is brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Appreciate that. We got a good sports lineup here. Bison Jackrabbits coming up tonight, 7 o'clock on Midco for that one. See how Bison fare there. We mentioned earlier that ridiculous stat that South Dakota State has been favored in 97 of the last 98 games. NDSU is a slight favorite for that one. That's coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. The United States facing Sweden in the quarterfinals of the men's hockey tournament. Now, there's a couple of conflicting reports here. One has it on USA, another has it on NBC. We know the game is at 2 o'clock between the United States and Sweden. Spot in the semifinals up for grabs there, whoever wins that. Also, the Gopher women's basketball team is on fire. Minnesota's got Ohio State. That's coming up 7 o'clock tonight on the Big Ten Network for that one. Gophers are right now hunting for an at-large bid as well into the NCAA tournament. Could they be paired with NDSU? Imagine if that would potentially happen if the Bison are able to make it to the NCAA tournament. That's what's on tap here tonight. We got to roll. Bison Media Zone is on deck. Our thanks to our guest today, to Kyle Cummings, to Nathan Hoots and Drew Trafton. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. The Bison Media Zone is straight up. That's coming up when we come back.